Retrofitting cables. This video will show you the steps to follow when you need to run cables in an area that has already had drywall installed. This happens quite often when you are doing a job in a finished home. For our purposes today, we will be demonstrating the steps to follow using a demonstration wall. This wall is designed to simulate a home in which there is a crawl space below the floor where we are retrofitting cables. We will run the cables from the crawl space. You will need a drill, screwdriver, stud finder, pencil, tape measure, level, drywall saw, a retro ring, tape, spade bit, insulation hanger or discovery rod, a fish rod, and a vacuum. Step 1. Locate an open bay between studs to run the cables. In order to do this, you will need to locate the studs behind the drywall. As you can see, there is already an electrical box installed on this wall. We know it is connected to a stud, but we need to determine the stud's location and just how many studs there are. Our goal is to run the cables into a different bay than the electrical, but still have it in close proximity. Use the stud finder to locate the studs. You will also need to check for fire blocks. Those run at 90-degree angles to the studs. Step 2. Measure the height of the electrical box. You will want the new ring and wall plate to be the same height as the other wall plates in the room. We will measure the height of the electrical box since that is in close proximity. As a side note, you will want to remove the plate and receptacle from the electrical box before beginning so you can measure accurately. Mark the height for the retro ring in the other bay. Step 3. Mark the cut lines for the retro ring. Holding the retro ring up to the correct height and making sure it is level, use the notches on the ring to mark the location where you will need to cut. Step 4. Cut out the drywall for the retro ring. Now using the marks you just made in the drywall saw, cut out the drywall so the retro ring can fit into the wall. Test to make sure it fits, but don't screw it in right now. You will need the hole as open as possible for you to work. Also, make sure you clean up after yourself as you go along. Step 5. Drill a hole through the quarter round and into the crawl space below. Put the insulation hanger or discovery rod into the drill and drill through the quarter round into the crawl space. The quarter round will have nails in it already. Try to make your drill hole the same height as the nail holes. You will eventually cut the insulation hanger off and it will look like another nail in the quarter round. Drill until you've gone all the way down into the crawl space. This will serve as a guide for where you will drill for the cable. Step 6. Tape the end of the cable you are going to run to the end of a fish rod. In our case, we have a box of Cat 5, so we take the end of the cable, pull some out, and tape the end to a fish rod. Step 7. Go into the crawl space and drill a hole for the cable to run up into the wall. Make sure to take the fish rod with the cable you just taped on, a drill with a spade bit, a tape measure, and a pencil into the crawl space with you. You will see the insulation hanger sticking out of the floorboards above. You will want to measure back 1.5 inches from that insulation hanger towards the space behind the drywall. Mark this spot as the place to drill for the cable. By marking 1.5 inches back from the insulation hanger, you are making sure that your cables will run into that open bay behind the drywall. Drill the hole. Then insert the fish rod into that hole so it goes well up inside the space behind the drywall. There should be someone on the floor above, looking through the hole you made for the retro ring, to grab the fish rod and pull it through. Step 8. Cut the insulation hanger or discovery rod. To make that insulation hanger look like a nail in the quarter round, cut it and hammer it down flush with the quarter round. Step 9. Install the retro ring. Take the cable off of the fish rod and insert the retro ring into the hole you made earlier. Make sure it's level. Then using a screwdriver, tighten the screws on the top and bottom of the ring. Step 10. This is the final step in this process and a step you've already learned to do. You just need to terminate the cable, add the proper connector, the wall plate, and clean up after yourself. That's it! Now you know how to retrofit a cable.